Hi everyone and welcome to the EM podcast. EM stands for my brand, for my initials, Andrea Palacio. But this podcast is built also around one question: where I am. It's a reflection on who you are right now, where you came from, and what you are moving toward. Not where you pretend to be, not where you used to be, but where you actually stand today, and what is pulling your next move. Each guest you will meet here stopped long enough to answer on one honest question: I am in 2026. So let's find out where they stand. I feel the wonderful energy that you share these days, weeks. Tell me more about you started doing what you do.
Yeah, thank you, Andrea. I know I appreciate the invitation of having me in your podcast, and I'm so excited for this project for you. So a little bit about me. So I had an e-commerce business. I had that for 7 years. It allowed me to travel around different places, travel full time, live in different places. And I then was pregnant with my first son. We moved back to Miami. I've lived in Miami for 20 years. And we decided to acquire a landscaping company. And when we acquired the landscaping company, it was very difficult because an e-commerce business and a landscaping company are two completely different type of businesses, right? One is like a lot of overhead, a lot of labor, and one is like full marketing and just pretty much getting your product out there, right? And so it was very hard because I was dealing with customers and I was dealing with like employees, team members, all these things that required a lot of work from me, and it was requiring over 80 hours a week of work with a newborn. I had my second son by the time we acquired the business, so it was a 1-year-old and a newborn, and it was a very difficult time of my life. I tried figuring out how I could put together systems, delegate my work to somebody, and I was unable to find the right talent in virtual assistants, doing it like overseas, tried hiring in 5 different countries: Philippines, Colombia, Jamaica. And for some reason, it just didn't work out for me, right? Then I kind of, at that time, AI started becoming a thing, right? And so I started diving into it. And when I dove into it, I tried hiring somebody through Upwork to help me with like implement some kind of voice agent that could help me with the customer service, so I wouldn't have to be answering 50 calls a day, right? And I paid this person and they delivered a horrible thing that was completely useless. And that's why I was like, okay, I have to figure this out myself. I've always been, I was building websites before, like years before that. And that was, I've always enjoyed kind of like self-learning and teaching myself how to do certain things on my computer, and I could work on my computer all day. So I just said to myself, let me just try this out. And I started learning and got into this deep rabbit hole and learned all about AI, started implementing in every aspect of the business, from AI voice agents to like handling text messages, emails, calling past due invoices to see what was happening. Now it like schedules our like new jobs, new projects. So our business, being a home service business, that is it's a business where it's very hands-on. It's very, you actually go, it's like very physical, one-on-one. We have completely turned it around in a way where it's AI driven 100%. And I don't work in the business anymore. My husband now manages it, and he's able to manage the business remotely. And I think that's all thanks to the systems that we put in place, because we've been able to move again. We live between a different country and between back in Miami. And so
I saw you on some boats also. You shared that.
Yeah, we lived on a sailboat. We sailed across the Caribbean for almost 4 years.
Everybody love to hear those experiences that I so rarely happens. But for you, that is something that, yeah, I spent 7 years. Can you tell me something that you learned in that? What is the nice and the hard part of that?
Oh, wow. So yeah, for 7 years, we took on this journey of full-time traveling. And at first we said, okay, let's move to the Dominican Republic. That was our first move, right? my husband and I had always been into traveling. Like we did when we were studying, we did an exchange program and we moved to France for like 6 months. And there we traveled to like 20 different countries, did a Euro trip. So we've always been into traveling and adventure. But when it was 2016, we had just gotten married and bought a house and all that good stuff. And I was like, I'm so disappointed in marriage. It sucks because we don't get to spend any time together. Like I'm at work all the time, right? I'm working corporate job, 9 to 5. He's working a retail job in T-Mobile, so he has to work sometimes weekends, and we're barely seeing each other. I'm like, this is not what I expected from getting married. And so I think that's what led me to push us, both of us, to say we need to quit our jobs and we need to find a solution where we can actually do things that first do what we like doing, do what we love, and most importantly, be together, right? Like spend time as a couple. So we end up just going on our honeymoon, and in our honeymoon, we're in Maldives, and we are literally just putting together a business plan, like spending our entire honeymoon just putting together this whole business plan on how we're going to quit our jobs, when we're going to leave, how we're going to survive, how we're going to make it the next couple of months while the business starts taking off, right? And we do that. So we start the e-commerce business, and then like 1 year afterwards, we're moving to the Dominican Republic to learn how to kite surf, right? So we moved there for 4 months in like full immersion on kiteboarding because we want to learn, right? And so after we tried going back to Miami and we realized that we love, like we just got hooked to the sport, and in Miami, the wind is not really that great. So we end up deciding, okay, let's build a travel trailer. So we end up building, my husband, he's super handy. And that's, I think, one of the things that we learned is that he's very resourceful and he's a full handyman. I don't think he knew he was as great as he is, that he became like living on a travel trailer and living on a sailboat for so many years. He learned how to become an electrician. He learned how to become a plumber. He learned how to fix absolutely everything, like a mechanic. And so we end up living on the trailer and traveling across the United States while looking for like different kite spots. We lived in Mexico for another 4 months. And after that, we moved to Colombia. Then after that, and then we realized we're like, okay, he gives this great idea, right? So we love sailing. I'm sorry, we love kiteboarding, right? So it's wind, and we love the water. And so boat, like we could live on a boat and kite. And I'm like, we've never been on a boat before because I had never stepped foot on a sailboat ever in my life, like a tiny one, but not like a real sailboat, right? And he didn't know how to drive or like manage a boat either. And so I thought that was a crazy idea, but we started watching all these YouTube channels of people that were actually living on sailboats. And so we said, okay, let's buy a sailboat. We ended up buying a sailboat in 2019. And we ended up buying a sailboat. It was a rough time because we did like 6 months of searching or saving money to buy the boat. And we find the right boat in South Carolina. We end up living there and traveling across the Caribbean. Like we buy the sailboat in South Carolina, and we ended
That
up.
was good period because of COVID.
I mean, it was a COVID,
Right?
yeah. So
You
right
had
on
a
COVID,
great time.
we were in the Bahamas, like everybody was. We were actually going to sail down the Caribbean, and because all the countries closed and all the islands closed, we were only able to make it to the Bahamas in 2020. So we ended up having to go back to the United States. Everything's closed. Nobody's doing anything. So we're like, okay, let's just stay in the Bahamas because at least here we can kite surf, we can dive. We were diving with sharks, we were diving with dolphins, we were doing all these amazing things that and my parents, I would talk to them and they're like, yeah, nothing's happening here. Like nobody can go out of their house pretty much. So we stay there during COVID, and the second year we're able to actually start sailing. And so that's when we go sail through all the islands and take the boat all the way down to Aruba. And that's where I found out that I was pregnant.
Wow.
And then we moved back. We
So
sailed the
you
boat
are in
back.
Miami now, right?
Well, right now I'm in Colombia, but yeah, I'm usually between
No.
Colombia.
Okay, but you swear.
Yeah.
That
So
is,
it's pretty cool.
yeah, a very interesting and nice to hear story. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
also an experience, and you share that experience. Like you built a YouTube channel around it.
Yeah, we did. We had a YouTube channel and we shared like all the experience from the second we buy the boat because we kind of wanted to start the YouTube channel when we were living on the trailer, but I don't think we really committed that much to. You have to be really committed to making a YouTube
Yeah,
channel
tell
when
me
because
about
it's
it.
yeah, it's a lot
Yeah.
of work, it's a lot of videos and putting out the content and putting in the work. So we ended up doing that for, like I said, the whole time we were living on the boat. So that was almost 4 years. And we ended up building a community of 40,000 people, right? And we found that you build this connection with people on YouTube, people that have been following your journey. When they watch a long form video, they get to know you so much, right? They get to learn more about who you are. And so people connect and we ended
It's
up
like a reality TV.
and you end up just going, we were in random places and people would be like, oh my God, you guys are from Living Hakuna, Andrea. And we've never met this person before, but they feel so connected to us. And then we realize that people that are within our community, that they connect with us, even though we don't know them, just the fact that they connect with us, it makes us realize that we're like in the same page and we have things in common and we enjoy talking to each other. So it was really cool to know that we could build that and have a community. And at some point, I really want to just restart that YouTube channel because I think it will be pretty cool.
You are well working on your personal brand, and you are more and more out there, maybe
Yeah,
not on YouTube.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's something that I wanted to ask you. Where you feel, if you would have to introduce yourself shortly at this point, what is that you are and you do like most of your time?
Yeah, so I hope business owners save time by implementing artificial intelligence and automations in their business. That's essentially what I do. So my goal is to save them at least 70% of their time that they're spending right now on repetitive manual work, anything that's, administrative work. I help them save that time and implementing AI and just putting together systems and workflows that will walk their customer through the entire process and their entire journey of the business while they're able to be as hands off as possible, right? Same thing happens with leads. When my goal is to get them to have their leads handled in less than 2 minutes, because by statistics, the longer we take to get back to our leads, the less likely it is that we're actually going to convert them into customers, right? So my goal is to assist them with that by implementing, whether it's a booking system, a virtual booking system, or an AI voice agent, like a receptionist per se, that
Yeah.
will be able to handle every single call, qualify the leads, and be able to book them right there on the person's calendars.
Have an IT background, or you just learned to code?
Well, I majored in international business and management information systems, so it was kind
Ah,
of IT, but not fully like software engineer. So I was like, when I thought about majoring in software engineer, because by the time I went to school, I was already, like building websites with code and HTML and whatnot. But then I was like, that seems kind of too complicated. I don't think I'm gonna go that path, and so I ended up not doing it.
the voice agent, you mentioned it, and we also mentioned that several times in the program that how important is it to differentiate now the offer? What you can say a little bit more. For example, I'm not sure, and I'm interested. How is that with other languages than English?
Yeah.
Do you think it's working well, or it's too obvious that you are speaking in AI?
So my experience has been so I've created voice agents in Spanish because that's my second language. That's my first language as well, just like you. So Spanish is my first language, and I found that if you use an American type of thing, it will obviously not sound correctly. You have to use from 11 Labs, like use a voice that is, first of all, obviously a Spanish voice, right? And then when it comes to the brain, just have the entire prompt, the entire setup in completely in Spanish because it will help the agent understand. And I don't know how it works in Serbia, but in Colombia, like the Spanish from Spain is completely different from the Spanish in Colombia. Like the accent, the words we
Right.
use, the way we communicate, it's just different, right?
This tip is good for even for me and for all that listening, because I set up my master prompt, and now those instructions that you can give all on English.
It's a huge difference. And I'll tell you what, I know I set up like an email agent for a customer that they receive emails because they service a market that's both in English and in Dutch. and I don't speak any Dutch, right? So I have no idea if the messages are good or not. All I have them is giving me feedback. Is like, this message, it sounds completely weird. It sounds wrong. And we found that like one of the issues was like the LLM has to be able to think in that specific language. And the only way it thinks in that specific language is if literally it receives the message in that language and you prompt it to analyze the message in that language. And pretty much the entire process is done in that specific language. And the outcome is going to be so much better and so much more natural.
This is a good
But
tip. I think that
yeah,
most of us make that problem, actually, that mistake, and
yeah,
in the pre-definition, and then everything, the result can't be good. But yeah,
yeah, yeah.
the
It's
prompting
incredible.
is definitely so important. What is that you would say is your biggest bottleneck?
My biggest bottleneck.
Or
Okay, so
was, maybe if you solve it, but we always have something that.
yeah, of course. So right now I have two different bottlenecks. I would say right now marketing has been a bottleneck for me, but I've been working really hard on setting up a team of agents that are helping me overcome that obstacle right now. Um, what I'm doing is I've been completely obsessed the past couple of months with just the new updates and the releases of OpenClaw. I'm sorry, yeah, OpenClaw
Cloud
and
code and
Claude Code, and it's just been like life changing for me, right? So I'm setting up this agents that are essentially helping me overcome that because I can't be everywhere at the same time, and I think that's what happens to most business owners. Yeah,
you mentioned cloud code, but what do you think comparing co-work and cloud co-work and Manus?
I was thinking that my goal is to just set it up in a way like I could hire somebody to help me, but my goal is to prove people through my own businesses that you can run a business using AI as much as humanly possible, right? There are certain things that you still need humans for, like again, those relationships, that emotional connection, building that content. Like I tried doing for a couple of months doing content with my AI avatar, and it doesn't feel the same, right? Like I just the way I express myself, I move my hands, it feels different. So that is, like you said, the last thing that I would want to delegate. But still building a system that allows you to handle pretty much, my goal is like 90 to 95% of the work. Like it's been a lot, like it's a lot. So I'm not even gonna go there yet. But you were mentioning about Claude Cowork and Claude Code. So Claude Code has been amazing. You can literally build anything that you want, connect to any tool that you want, and it's the way to pretty much connect everything so you see your entire business in one place. And I think that's the power of Claude Code, is the ability to build and the ability to allow you to escalate based on whatever bottleneck you have. Like one of the issues that we were having in our business, again, like I said, was marketing. And we connected both Manus and Claude Code to Google Ads to help us analyze how the ads were running and pretty much analyze and optimize everything. And it's been crazy. Like we started using these tools to optimize, and you can see the difference. Like it would have taken us hiring. It's not just hiring a digital marketing agency, because you can try to hire a digital marketing agency and they may not know what they're doing. With AI, it's telling you exactly what's wrong. If it's the landing page, fix the landing page, fix the keywords. You need to do this. You need to pause these keywords. You're literally having an expert help you optimize your advertising at the highest level. And so for me, it has been just like night and day being able to compare these tools and see how they work. For me, I like using Claude Cowork when I'm strategizing, when I'm planning. I think it's a super powerful tool, but Claude Cowork has been amazing. I like using, again, Claude Code is my go-to. It's the one I wake up and talk and I'm building, and I go to sleep and I'm building on Claude Code, right? And Manus is my go-to when it comes to research. It is incredible. Like it will do full research, full breakdown of everything. Just the fact that it can open up a browser. It will start just
Yeah.
searching for websites on a whole new browser. It's incredible. And I found that OpenClaw, it literally has another browser that will do the exact same thing. And I would say it's maybe a little bit more powerful than Manus. I'm still testing both
But
because again,
also maybe more advanced, right? I tried both, but
okay.
honestly, used more Manus, and Manus made an amazing job
incredible.
I was because I'm in multiple businesses with a lot of ideas. I wake up every morning, wow, I want to do this, and then okay, stop.
AI makes
First,
you feel like you can conquer the world, right? Like,
no, can somebody approach you? What can you do, and what is the process that you offer, like for cooperation?
yeah, of course. I would say I can't say how important it is to find somebody that can guide you through the process because it's taken me 3 years to get to where I am, right? Like in terms of just the system side of things and the understanding of the AI systems and the automations, right? It's taken me 3 years to get there. So it depends. If you want to take you have two resources, right? You have your money or you have your time. So if you want to take 3 years to figure it out and just to get your hands on things, barely figure out how things work, you could do that, right? It's going to take you a long time and you're going to make a lot of mistakes and you're going to fail and some things will go right and some things won't, right? But when you hire someone that has already been doing it, that has implemented it for different people, that has continues to test and right now we're at a point where AI is changing so fast. Like literally what was working 3 months ago, 2025, 3 months ago, and 2026, the launch that, co-work, manage the update that it had, like all these changes, they just happened and they have completely changed the game on a whole nother level of where we're at and what we can implement. So you need to have someone on your team that is staying at the front of all these changes, that knows exactly what's happening and what they're doing, and can guide you through the process, because it doesn't make any sense for you to implement AI if you're not actually going to get a return on your investment, right? The goal for us, and when I say us, I mean as people that this is what we do and this is what our focus is, and our goal is to make sure that your business gets a return on investment, that we do a full diagnosis to first understand what your current processes look like, to see what works and what doesn't and what needs to be better. If you work on the wrong things, you're going to get an output that you're not going to be satisfied with. So we have to make sure that we work on the right things, and we have to make sure that we strategize correctly so we implement on the right things, right? That being said, I would say that a business that doesn't implement this type of technology right now, there is, and you probably can tell by now, there's no way you can compete in the future, because there's no way that you can have an expert analyze your advertising, your marketing, get the best marketing, answer to I don't know how many leads at the same time, provide the best customer support, send invoices, do all these things that technology and artificial intelligence is now allowing us to do, where it just simply makes the business competitive. And there's no way to compete if you don't have that. Like you just won't be able to match the level of performance and the inputs and the outputs that a business that has this implemented are going to be able to have. So I'm pretty my objective is to help as many businesses implement this and figure things out and have their own agents that will be able to, at some point in the future, what's going to happen is that AI agents will be fully representing our business in a virtual marketplace. Like that's how it's going to be. And robots are coming and people
Yeah, Neo, or what is the name
to,
of Neo?
yeah,
The robot that
Neo, like that
Neo, yeah.
robot that cleans your house. You have robotics that are going to mow your lawn. You have like all these things. They're coming. They're coming. So we need to prepare for it as business owners, because otherwise we're going to be left without a business. It's that simple. Like you won't be able to compete. And so my job is to be able to help people throughout the entire process. And I think it's not a bad thing. People are like, oh my God, so what's going to happen to our jobs? It's not a bad thing. Like at the end of the day, I don't think the people that work for me mowing the lawn, I don't think they like spending their day mowing lawns. Like they would want to spend their time doing something that they love doing, right? Like you don't want to, and not, if you love doing accounting, that's your passion, that's where your genius zone is at. I'm sure you're going to find a place where you stand out and you are going to just be unique and so much better than, you know,
Yeah, but with
AI,
AI, you
right?
will be extremely powerful and fast, and it uncomparable with anything or anyone else. So yeah, I fully agree with you
Right?
that
But if you're not doing what you love and you're just kind of like, oh my God, this is another thing that I have to do today to be able to get money to pay for my rent. If you feel like that, well, it's not going to be a problem for you anymore because you're going to be able to focus on what you're good at, what your zone of genius is, where you bring value to humanity, where you bring value to the marketplace. And that's where I think AI is so positive because it's going to allow us to, for me, the most important thing that I've ever had in my life is my freedom. And I think that's why I've done everything I've done, like from living on a sailboat to,
yeah.
like quitting my job and building a business and becoming an entrepreneur. My soul, like I just think freedom is so important. It's just my happiness to being able to do what I love. And so
This
helping other
is a
business owners.
wonderful time to gain freedom and
Yeah.
to focus on that. So you don't have a target market, I mean, specialize, you are not specialized in some kind of businesses, or you are
Yeah.
this
Yeah. I specialize. I only do service businesses. Yeah. So I
service
only help
business,
service
so no
businesses
product.
and try to focus mostly on home service businesses because that's what I know. That's what
What
I've,
you
yeah. Mhm.
Cool. And how can they reach you if somebody would love to have? Do you offer some free consulting, or how you do that
Yeah.
first?
Yeah, so we do a first call where I kind of understand your business, learn to know exactly what's going on. Then we do a full diagnosis to understand what the business actually needs. And once we have that, I'll share like we get this full summary and full understanding of what your current processes look like, how much time it's actually costing you, how does that convert in terms to money, and then we look at the possible changes that we could make, the possible ways that we can implement AI and automations, and how that translates again into time and money for the business. Then we obviously do the implementation part. And to answer your other question, I'm super active on social media. Well, we follow each other. And I'm
Easy to
very
find you.
active. Yeah, I'm on Instagram and YouTube, TikTok, Andrea Palacio, my first last name, and my company's name is Crewless.
Cool. One thing that you mentioned on the very beginning is that you love to learn, and that is probably one of the reasons why you joined Elite, and this is how we know each other. And
Yeah.
tell me, in what things you love mostly to upgrade your knowledge, and also what is the biggest thing that you learned on Elite? I suppose that it has something to do with AI, but also with systems.
Yeah. I love that question. So, my favorite place to learn, oh my God. Let me tell you, like I told you, I graduated with a bachelor's on international business and management information systems. And I don't think I learned anything compared to everything that I've learned on YouTube and being in business as an entrepreneur. That has been my biggest accomplishment. And I think what has taught me the most because you can literally learn anything. Like there's no excuse to why we don't know something. It's because we just don't want to know. And Dan has the saying, what are you pretending not to
Thing
know?
not to know.
Right? Because you can have like this is the era of information. Everything's out there. If you want to become an expert in sales, you can watch a million YouTube videos on that. If you want to become an expert on AI, you can have AI train you and you can watch videos and you can do all of it online right now. So for me, YouTube has given me a master's on absolutely everything, and I'm sure I'm still missing a lot of skills. So I continue to learn every day. My favorite tool to learn is Notebook LM because what I
Yeah.
do is sometimes sitting through a 2-hour video, it can feel like a lot, and not even it can feel like a lot. Maybe you don't have the time, right? And so for me, what I like to do is just have that video or put the topic on Notebook LM and convert that into a deck or an infographic and just kind of go through it, see, okay,
It's
what do I know and what am I missing?
amazing. Yeah, it's and have you tried putting it or some text or video, and then it makes a podcast that, but
Yeah.
it talks that way that I understand it better than the original because it converts. I don't know. It's so cool. I'm
Yeah,
impressed.
it's
And
incredible.
also with all those my crazy ideas, I put it inside and say, create an infographic. And it
Yeah.
explains me my crazy ideas, and it has sense or no, but it has some visualize it. So
And it can
thank you
also
for
build this mind.
mentioning. Yeah.
Yeah, it also builds like a mind map so you know exactly like okay, what happens afterwards. Like you're able to picture and have this full diagram of what you're trying to learn, what it is that you're missing. And so for me that's been
No,
amazing. Like
Google
AI,
is crushing. Google is crushing it because they in some
they
moment it
are.
was like, ChatGPT will kill maybe
Yeah.
Google, and they just wake up with Gemini, with Notebook
Yeah.
LM, and I'm in their workspace and Gmail, everything connected. And I
Yeah.
use all those AIs that they have, and they are all amazing. But yeah,
They
I
really are.
mix it too, and I think you are more than right that it is about experience. I think both entrepreneurship helps you to understand the needs of other businesses and how to help with tools, but also being full-time updating your knowledge about new tools, new changes and everything. And that is something that there is a big advantage if you do that
Yeah,
like you are. So
totally.
great. It's yeah, are you doing a 5 daily non-negotiables?
I'm trying to stick to them as much as possible. The
No podcast without that.
gosh, I'm super committed to the gym. I don't miss the gym. The stories. I'm pretty good at the stories, so I don't have an issue posting the stories. My goals, I have them like right
Yeah.
here. Right, I'm like super aligned to my goals. The one that's really that is the hardest for me, I would say, is the story. Not the stories. I'm sorry. The reading, because I just stay at the computer for
Ah,
so long, and then I just completely disregard my
yeah.
time to
For
read. And
me, is to speak to camera, but it is connected with me switching to English
right.
because of big network. I mentioned you that I built with going on events as a mentor, as a
Mhm.
speaker, as a ecosystem builder. So I met wonderful people, and they followed me. And they followed me on Instagram, but they were like liking Serbian uh, podcast and different things.
Right.
So I was like, it's much better for me to change. So I still don't feel really comfortable with speaking. So honestly, that's my uh,
Fun.
the hardest for keep up. But the rest is this was like just kidding. I follow you and you are doing a great job and you are sharing a great energy. And I think that is something that people can feel. And then if you help yourself with some things, then it's sure that sharing it with others and
Yeah.
it's a proven way to help others also. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, and you know what? The stories, I found that first, I'm like, oh yeah, do I really want to post stories? And then I understood why the stories are part of the daily non-negotiables. Like you really do improve. You really do hear yourself communicate and use all these fillers and use all this you know, all these fillers and things that we use when we communicate, and we don't realize it until we actually record ourselves, go through the video, and
Right.
realize like okay, I could improve here. And so you just end up improving the way you communicate with others, whether that's like on camera or whether that's, you know, having this type of conversation. So I found that I after doing the daily non-negotiables, I'm like, I totally get why each one of these ones is so important. You know, they really are very important.
A discipline and it is all very connected with systems again because that is a
100%.
small system that you implement in your daily life and
It
there are
changes everything.
different systems and different fields of your life where you but this is something that is fully connected with your goals with
Yeah.
your how you show up and yeah i think
Yeah.
I think discipline and all those small systems for our life is very important. Is there something that you would like to share and I didn't ask you?
No, I think you asked me quite a lot about like I think I covered my whole life pretty much, right?
Well, I was um, genuinely interested in what you do, and I fully think this is important topic to share, and that people can learn from that, both to empower them to research a little bit more, but also to understand that with a little bit of help, they
Yep.
can really, really improve. I can't compare my life and productivity 6 months
It
or
really, like
one
you said,
year
it doesn't
ago.
compare. It
Yeah.
doesn't compare. It's crazy. Yeah, it's amazing. I am I am impressed. Like every day, honestly, I just sit down and I'm working on all these tools and applications and I'm just like, it's unbelievable. Like you don't like even I probably think that people that are doing the same thing that we're doing, like that are in the AI space, in automations, everybody is mind blown by the capabilities of this technology. Like all these tools, like I said, Cloud Code, Open Cloud, Manus, Cowork, all these tools, they're a whole nother level. Like there's something that were not experiencing 6 months ago. It's very different. And if you don't know, if you don't think that this is impacting your business, you clearly just don't know enough or you're not using it the right way. It's not that it's not possible, it's just that you don't have that information or that knowledge yet. And you want to make sure that you get that either by hiring somebody to help you or by doing your own research and figuring out how to use these tools because it is a game changer 100%.
Cool. Because you know about the magic word, you have one.
A magic word?
Yeah, we had that on one of our sessions. So, what is for 2026 your magic word? If you don't have, I would love
Oh, the
you.
magic
I
word.
would love you to think about it, but with my signature sentence, I am
Yes,
in 26. What
yes.
are you
Yes.
in 26? Fill
Mine
the
was
word.
distribution. I am distribution.
Distribution. Cool. That
Yeah,
is.
because I am going to be everywhere. You will find me. You will be scrolling, and you will find me. So that was.
I love following your journey, and
Thank you, Andrea. Same here.
thank
No,
you
and I'm glad we had
for
this
being
conversation.
here.
It was really fun
And
speaking with you.
for everyone listening, pause for a moment and ask where I am right now and what I'm building to support that version of myself. If this conversation moved you, share with someone who needs to hear it. Follow AM Podcast and see you in the next episode.